Welcome to the Jordan Wigington Show. I'm here with my sister Lily. So tell me, how was it growing up with me as a brother?
It was pretty good, I guess, even though I'm 14 years younger than you. By the time I basically remember that, you weren't living at the house.
What do you remember about me when I lived here?
I remember your long hair, and all your friends. I think you used to get in trouble a lot, too.
Okay. See, here's the thing: is Cody, our brother, he's only 4 years younger than me, and he knew me through all the lame parts of my life. But you only got the cool. Mm-hmm. I was the top of my game when you were just remembering stuff. Confession time. I used to use you as a shield all the time. For instance, when I was probably 20 years old, do you remember Shane Moody, Holly's husband?
Yeah.
It's when he was living with me, I believe. Maybe not. But he came over and he gave me a haircut. And it was the most absurd mohawk of all time. Like, I had long hair, and he just shaved the sides and kept the long in the middle. I never once spiked it up, but it was the most ridiculous haircut I've ever had. And I told Mom that I got a haircut, and of course she wanted to see it, but she was at work. And I was like, well, she was going to hate it. So what I did is I went and picked you up from here, and I was like, hey, we're going to go see Mom. So I was like 20, so that means you were what? 6?
Yeah.
We went to my mom's. Do you remember this? We went to the hospital.
I don't know.
But because she was excited to see you, she didn't care about my hair that much.
Yeah, I can see that.
So you don't remember much of me living here, do you?
No. I remember that time you watched a booger on the wall. It was there for a while.
Was it in this room right here?
Yeah, it was in that room that I used to stay in, and then you lived here, and it was on the wall till basically the wall got torn down.
Yeah. So we're at my parents' house, and there's a room right here that was originally my dad's office. And when she was born, they kind of converted it into a bedroom. Still had the huge
desk.
Had a huge desk in there. So they put her little bed in there. And then when I was like a year out of high school, I came home from camp one day, and my parents had moved me out into the house. Like, it was kind of the plan, but it was just like really abrupt. Like, hey, you're out. So they moved her into my old bedroom. And years later, like, my parents wanted to sell the house they moved me into, so they sold it and moved me back into the room. And it was back into the computer room, was what we grew up calling it. But it was this little office, so I had all my stuff in there, like a twin-size bed, and I was like 22 years old. And the huge desk in there. I had a TV and a coffee table in there because I was really into gaming at that point in my life. And I was just, it's the smallest room possible, and I was the oldest kid in the house. But precious.
I think I got the biggest room, and I don't
know if that's the bigger room. It's got 2 closets. But I that was my bedroom for the longest time, and then I switched to this one in the back of the house. But yeah. So you are a complete generation younger than me.
Yeah.
What was it like going to school? Me and my brother, we went to Christian school. It was rad. Wasn't lame like most people think it was. It was rad. But the school we went to closed down, and Lily was forced to go to like a public school. So what was public school like?
It was different. You know, we didn't have a dress code, so that was nice. But when I was younger, like, it was different. Cause, like,
no kind of dress code?
No, not at all. Like, when I was little, I could wear shorts or whatever to school. I remember I went to kindergarten at the Christian school, but like, they made us learn to write in cursive. So, like, I wrote in cursive, and all the kids like wrote in print. And they were like, "Why are you doing that?" But that's just what I knew how to do. It was pretty cool. When I moved to high school, it was a lot better. Thank the Lord I didn't have to wear basketball shorts when I played volleyball, but I liked it.
Okay, I remember me and my wife were dating at the time. I went to your 6th grade graduation. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I remember it was a very dark gym.
Yeah.
So what year would that have been?
It was in 2016.
2016 was your 6th grade graduation.
Yeah.
That doesn't even seem right.
I know, but it is because I have a T-shirt that has it on there.
So you graduate 6th grade, and you went to high school, which was a whole different like school. I guess like a district's not the right word, but like it's a new school. It's not affiliated with where you went to elementary school at. What was going to that like for the first day? You had friends, right?
Yeah, I knew some of the people. So you
knew people.
I knew some of the people, but it was so hard because I didn't see these people all the time, and they already had their groups. They already had like their friends, so it was hard to adjust. Like at first, the people that was at my school that moved to the same school as I did, we kind of all stuck together. But once we got involved, like in sports and the other stuff, we kind of, I don't know, we found new groups. But it was hard at first. It was a big adjustment, but I ended up really liking it.
Okay. Here's a question. What were your favorite classes in school, and has that changed since you're now in college?
I think that my favorite would have been biology and history. I liked all my history classes, but in high school I hated English, but now I think I like it a lot more that I'm older. Yeah. I wasn't really good at it in high school, so I didn't really enjoy it, but now I think like if I took it again, I would really like it.
Mm-hmm. I hated school with a passion, but if I had to pick a favorite class, we had Bible class. I'm going to say Bible class, not because it's the Christian thing to say, because I was pretty decent at it. Like I was pretty well read in the Bible, and I always made decent grades, and it was easy. But outside of that, I hated school. Do you have any fond memories of high school, like something touching, like maybe something you and some friends did? Like you were pretty active in school, stuff like that. You have anything that you did that you're proud of, like as being a part of the school? Like did you do an outreach or anything like that?
We didn't get to really do much in high school because of COVID, but we did, like one year I volunteered at the Special Olympics. That was pretty cool and fun. And also we did this lip sync battle at school. It was pretty fun.
What song was it?
We did We're All in This Together, High School Musical. The whole softball team did it. It was pretty fun.
Speaking of softball, do you think you were the best on the team?
No.
Who was?
It depends on the year. My senior year was probably Carly Hill. She just could hit home runs, but...
All right, so you might not know this, but, like, do you know your batting average or... RBIs,
I think I had a 400.
400?
Yeah, my senior year.
400.
Yeah,
and
I've got a plaque that says it. No, I think she was a little bit ahead of me, but like I got awards and like stuff. I got like most improved, and I think I got something else. But my plaque says like
the
my
most
average.
Improved was the worst award.
Well, I got it.
Well, it was probably different because y'all were somewhat competitive. But like when we gave somebody the most improved award, what that meant was you were really bad, and now you're not as bad.
Yeah.
And I always felt so sorry for the people that got that award because, like, come on, just don't even mention me.
It was like 400. I think I had maybe 40 RBIs.
40 RBIs in what, 20 something games?
It's probably almost 30.
30 games. So that's nuts. So a little over average, like 1.3 a game. That's crazy. But I'm better because my senior year in high school, my batting average was nowhere near that high, but I did win MVP of the season. That's a fact. I wish I could find my plaque. Mom probably threw it away.
Mine's in my closet somewhere.
Yeah, they probably kept all your stuff and thrown my stuff away. I need something funny. What's what was the, how do I ask this? What was the event or the occasion that everybody at school, within like maybe 1 or 2 years older than you, 1 or 2 years younger than you, what was the situation, the event that everybody knew about?
In high school?
In high school.
Trying to think. I think I was in like the 10th grade. I don't remember what year it was, but that's when like vaping was big, and somebody was vaping in the bathroom. It was a boy, and he was vaping in the bathroom, and he passed out, and like the police had to be called, and our principal ended up taking the doors off of the boys' stalls, and there was like a protest.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And like it was so weird. You could walk by the doors and not see them, like in the bathroom.
That reminds me of two things. First off, I don't know, till I was probably in 10th grade, our stalls in our bathroom just didn't have doors. And I never knew why. And I was always scared to poop there because, well, first off, my friend Evan, anytime I went to the bathroom, do you remember him? Probably not.
I think so.
Anytime I went to the bathroom, I'd always tell the teacher, do not let him go to the bathroom. He's going to ask until I get back because he's going to mess with me while I'm using the bathroom. And the second I would get sat down, the lights would shut off, and he would scream my name, and he would go rummage through somebody's bag in the locker room and grab like a T-shirt or something, soak it wet, and just start whipping me with it every single time. I forgot what else I was going to tell you.
Yeah, when that happened, it made national news.
Really?
Yeah.
National?
Yeah, it was on Fox News.
That's crazy. Tucker Carlson probably read your
He
school's
probably
name.
did.
Another thing is like the way our school was is there was the bleachers in the morning. Where kind of like everybody chilled before school started when they were dropped off. I used to love sitting there and like you could see into the girls' locker room and always see their feet at the stalls. And I used to always love guessing like who was using the bathroom based off their feet. And that sounds creepy and pervy, but I don't mean it that way. It was just funny. But I just remember sitting at those bleachers, and I hated being in drama myself. You might be the same way.
Yeah.
Hopefully you are. But I absolutely loved hearing other people's drama. I loved
me too.
I loved hearing the stories. And I never really got involved. I don't remember. But I loved hearing the drama. And I just remember sitting at those bleachers and can hear the girls in the locker room just screaming at each other. Or you looked at my boyfriend, or you texted him, or all this stuff. And it was just the funnest thing ever.
Yeah, we used to send videos of fights on our group chats at school.
Yeah, we never had any fights in our school.
We had a lot.
We were good Christian kids.
We didn't have none of those at my school.
But the stereotype with us was like the Christian school kids, that's where all the bad kids went. And we had a couple, kids that come through that, like Jesse Shedd. I probably shouldn't just throw people's last names out so easy, but he was a cool dude. But his first day, he borrowed an entire pack of paper from me and crafted a cup out of the paper and then used it as a spitter for class. It was the craziest, most craftiest thing I've ever seen. Like, I admire the creativity, but like there was really no bad kids at our school. We just were very goofy.
We had a lot of bad kids. A lot of bad kids.
That's kind of expected with a public school because, it's law. You have to send your kid to school. But we never really had an event that, like, I'm thinking about. Nobody that I know of got pregnant in high school, or
I think I had like 8 people when I was in high school get pregnant in my grade.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think. A kid got kicked out because he was like skipping class and like going to skateboard in the culvert next to our school, but nothing really that crazy. It was pretty tame. I wanted to ask you something else, but I can't remember what it was. Growing up, what was the musical thing that you freaked out on? Because everybody has like a music that just is their jam, and it's a kind of a true stereotype with girls that they usually kind of fall into some pop star that they're obsessed with, like
Justin Bieber.
well, like, yeah, Justin Bieber, but like it could be like, you know, the guy that you liked or you had a crush on, but who was like the girl that like you vibed with, that you wanted, not wanted to be, but like they were like, you felt like you was your girl. Like maybe girls loved Christina Aguilera when I was in like elementary school, or I don't know. Do you have any things like that?
So yeah, I really like Justin Bieber. I still kind of do to this day, but for a girl, I was really into Hannah Montana.
Hannah Montana, she ruled. I seemed like I used to watch that show with you.
Yeah, I think I used to dress up like her all the time.
Oh, I know you did. Yeah, that was a good time because we grew up and we didn't have Disney Channel, and it's not because it's just our cable package never carried it. So I grew up on Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon, but mainly Cartoon Network. And but like we got Disney Channel for whatever reason, like somewhere at the end of high school, and that's when Hannah Montana was going on, Wizards of Waverly Place. Like I feel like that was one of the best generations of Disney. I loved Phineas and Ferb.
I did too.
That was one of the best shows of all time. That's my dog. I don't know if they can hear it or not. I can't tell. Yeah, he's picking up. He's a good dog. He likes to get out.
He's probably walked behind us 5 times and peed,
Yeah.
so it's probably on the camera.
I barely remember this, but I can't remember if it's Lindsay that tells the story, but one of the first times I brought my wife over here, she always liked to, because I used to like to bring people over and build a fire on the porch and just hang out. And
One time you burnt the rug outside.
I burnt the
Mom
rug
got
down
mad.
one time. But she says one of the first times that you came over here that you stripped down to your diaper and like filled up a plastic swimming pool and went swimming in it. Or something like that. It was something like that. You were running around acting crazy. Do you remember that?
No, I don't
You
remember
don't?
that, but it sounds like something that I would do.
It's just interesting because you're so much younger than me. Like, what is your if you could think long enough, do you think you could figure out your first memory?
My first memory, I don't know. It's in my subconscious mind.
The earliest I can think back is I remember I had a birthday party, and mom's not really like this anymore, but for me, when we and Cody were really, really young, she used to go all out. Like, you see online people like, moms go crazy for birthdays. They just do princess treatment. My mom kind of did that back in the 90s, but like to the 90s level. Like she went all out. And I remember she had like the tables from Sunday school in our garage. She had borrowed them. They were like the preschool tables, so they were way shorter. And then like sitting at tables. I don't remember any people there, which there had to have been because I had friends and I wasn't the lonely depressive kid or anything like that. I don't remember any faces or kids or anything, but I just remember being in the garage and it decorated and it's sitting at one of those little tables. That's the earliest memory I can think of. And I had to have been like 3 or 4 or something like that.
I don't even remember, like I remember going to school, but like I don't remember like my first memory. That's weird, but
Yeah, it's a hard thing. And you kind of lose them the older you get, but not really, because they'll crop up on you like real out of nowhere. And my stuff's always either tied to smell, but a lot of songs, like I can hear a song and it like remind me of something from 20, 30 years ago. You're kind of like me in the way that you read a lot. I don't remember. It's like she said, like when she was kind of learning how to read and got into like school, I was already moved out. So I don't ever remember you being around and reading all that much. Cody, our brother, he read a lot when he was a kid. And I didn't read so much, but I did read. And then once I got kind of at high school and then, after that I started reading a lot. When did you start loving to read? Was it something from school or?
We used to have to take tests on books in school, but I didn't really like that because they made us do it. But I think once I got into like the 7th or 8th grade, I liked to read. I mean, I didn't really do it as much in high school as I do now, but I think that's when it started.
If you had to pick a favorite genre, what would it be? You can be as specific or as broad as you know.
I like historical fiction, but I also like mysteries and thrillers. It just depends on what kind of mood I'm in.
Okay. If you, that's not your favorite, is it?
It's one of them.
It's one of. If you had to pick a favorite book,
my top 3 are The Nightingale, The Women is the one that I have right here, and probably Throne of Glass series. I'm reading it right now. I haven't finished it, but I really like it.
I still haven't read that one yet. Me and Lily went to the bookstore a couple weeks ago, and I bought a copy of what's the one? Throne of Glass. I'm gonna read it. I like all books for the most part. I mean, but I'll read just about anything.
I forgot about Pride and Prejudice. I really like that book.
Ooh, that was a good one. Miss Bennett.
It's my favorite.
Mrs. Bennett is the best. That's loud. Historical fiction. That's kind of funny to me because if you think about it, I haven't read a whole lot of historical fiction, but like Farewell to Arms. You know that book? Read it or anything like that? It's Ernest Hemingway. It's a book, I believe, in one of the World Wars. I can't remember. I'm terrible with that type of stuff, but like it's about a guy getting back to the girl he likes after being in the battlefield. I love that book. Highly recommend that book, by the way. But like, is that now historical fiction because it's over like 100 years old?
I think like people would classify it as a classic.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
I mean, I still think it would be historical fiction, even
because like The Nightingale, for instance, that was written 6 years ago, something like that. But it was set during World War II in France, I believe. In
France, and I think it moved around a little bit.
Yeah, but it was about this lady who
and her 2 sisters.
Her two sisters. And
one was really rebellious.
Nazi Germany's invading France. Yeah. They live in France.
One was really rebellious, and one kind of like was submissive to whatever they said to do, and the other one ended up getting kind of involved with the war, even though she was a girl.
Yeah, but like she's writing about something that happened a long time ago. It's fiction. It's historical fiction. I'm just kind of like, where's the line where we consider something maybe just an old book like Farewell to Arms versus like something that's modern? Because like that book will be 10 years old here soon, or 50 years from now. Is that
I would think
still
anything
historical fiction?
I think anything written around that time may not be considered, but I think like since this was written well over 80 years or almost 80 years after it, I would think it would be considered historical fiction. Since
that's interesting. Yes, I have read The Nightingale. Well, technically, I think it was the audiobook I listened to. I liked it.
It was really good. One of my favorites.
Tell me about your book that I asked you to tell me about. I have not read this one. Yeah, just kind of flash at the camera.
It's kind of messed up.
Yeah.
But The Women is also written by the same author as The Nightingale, Kristin Hannah. It is about a woman named Frankie that is a nurse. She is raised by a very religious family, and they raised people up in their family to be in the war, all the men.
Which war? Do you remember?
Her family, the World War II, and then this time is the Vietnam War that's starting. Her brother was sent off to war, and then after she graduated from nursing school, she decided to enlist in the, I think it was the Navy, or it was the Army. It was the Army. And she decided to go off to Vietnam. And the first part kind of describes her tours in Vietnam, and then the second part of the book describes like how she felt coming home with like PTSD.
Was she in combat, like
she
fighting?
She was a nurse, but in the book there's like bombings that go on at her hospital, and she seen like a lot of crazy stuff, and she ended up coming home with PTSD, and like a lot of the people back at home, like her family wouldn't account that she went to Vietnam. They said she was gone to like Italy or something, and like everybody was saying like, well, there was no women in Vietnam. It was just all men, which really there was. They were just nurses, but
yeah. I was thinking like I didn't think that women could like enlist to be in arms, but like
yeah,
seems like I have that I do remember learning about women being in Vietnam and some in like World War II.
Yeah.
But like nowhere near like I don't know, I'm not a history buff, but like that's interesting. So what's like the main drama? Is it her overcoming PTSD?
So there's like she so her brother's sent off to war, and then she meets these friends in Vietnam, and she finds these men, but they end up like having wives at home, and which really I kind of spoiled that. That's not good. But
I'll put like a spoiler thing over. Just
okay.
Talk.
And she ends up coming home, and she like struggles with PTSD, but she doesn't really know that she does. And she gets married. She finds a man. She gets pregnant, and she doesn't really like him. And she has a miscarriage. And then after that, she kind of spirals. She gets addicted to drugs and alcohol, all this stuff with PTSD. But like at this time, people didn't really know about PTSD, and she gets the help that she needs, and she ends up starting this I don't know if I would call it a camp, but it's like a place where like women can go, like from the war, they could go to have help in that sense.
Yeah. So what is it about this book that you love so much?
I liked getting to learn about like the war itself, and like because like for me, like I can't ever like you can't ever go back in time and know what the people that were in the war went through, or even the people that weren't like fighting in the war, but like what the country was like at that time. And I think it's really interesting to kind of learn what people went through. Yeah,
I was thinking about Vietnam not too long ago because I was listening to Jimi Hendrix. Do you ever listen to Jimi Hendrix?
No.
I don't know that much about him personally, but I do know his music pretty well. He's got a song called, well, he was like that whole hippie generation, and they were, for the most part, really, really against the war. And it turns out they were right, because the United States kind of had no business being in Vietnam.
Yeah, and in the book, it kind of discusses how like there were protests in America like against the veterans, and because they thought that they were in support of the war, but really after they'd spent time in Vietnam, they were against the war too.
Yeah.
And it just showed like how many people were against it, even though that it was still going on.
Yeah, I don't think history will look back too kindly on like people booing the soldiers coming back. That's not good, because it's not their fault. But like the United States had no business being in Vietnam, that's for sure.
Yeah. Oh no. I think it starts barking again.
But anyways, it's fun. Jimi Hendrix, I'm trying to think like what made him so popular. First off, the psychedelic drugs. But all of the way he played guitar, especially in his song Machine Gun, he's emulating the way like a machine gun sounds, and like the wild, crazy sounds of war. And I don't know where I was going with that. Who knows? I don't remember. But anyways, it's cool music because he's doing all those things. Like the song Machine Gun is unbelievably good. And I think there's only a live version, but I love it so much. And he does this crazy sounding stuff with his guitar, where he's got like a Leslie speaker, and the guitar is constantly moving back and forth between speakers or in your ear left or right. And it's just wild music, because that was just a wild time to be alive. So she was doing drugs, and then I guess got clean.
And she had a wreck that almost like killed her, and she gets sent to the hospital, where the guy that she had almost had the baby with, he was a psychiatrist, and he was there, and he helped her. And then she went home to live with her parents for a while, and then she moved out on her own and went to that. She bought land somewhere and created the camp.
That's pretty cool. we need to come up with a rating system. Out of 5 stars, what would you give it?
I gave it 5 stars on my Goodreads.
5 stars on the Goodreads. A couple more questions before we wrap up. We're at 30 minutes. My phone's probably bogging down with its memory. But do you differentiate and rate differently based off like modern book versus classic? Because I do.
Yeah, I do too.
Because Pride and Prejudice, that's a 5 star, and I'd probably give Nightingale like a 4.5. I haven't read that, I don't know, but those 2 books are so vastly different. Like Pride and Prejudice is so much better, and no disrespect to Kristin Hannah at all.
Agree.
My writing's terrible, but like I rate the classics and old stuff so much differently than I'd rate modern, and I don't feel like it's fair because like on Goodreads or something like that, when I said, I can't remember the last book I rated 5, it was a modern book, Still I Miss You by Inez Pedrosa. That book was so good, but like there's no way it holds a candle to Hemingway or Austen or anything. And I was just wondering if you do the same thing.
Yeah, I do it different based on what I'm reading. Like some books, like I don't know, some thrillers, like for example, they're all like the same. Like if I really like it, but it's something similar to what I've read, I'll do like a 4. But like all the classics, like if I really like it, I'll give it a 5. And if like for any just fiction books, I'll give it a 5 if I really like it. 4 if it was kind of, it was okay, but, and then 3 and below is really if I don't really like it. It just depends on how I feel.
Yeah. We're running out of time. I wanted to ask you about a lot more things, but that's fine. Yeah, thank y'all for listening. Hopefully you're still listening. I'm going to throw a spoiler alert. This is a reminder because I'm going to be linking up or syncing up audio right about now. Put the spoiler in so people don't ruin this book since it's a modern book. But buy that book. Read it with your friends.
Yep, it's really good.
Especially if you like historical fiction. Check out The Nightingale as well. That one was really good. If I remember correctly, the lady that did the audiobook did a very good job reading it. But that's all. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.